technical
Oh
difficulties.
man.
We're going live.
We're going live.
Ah,
Happy Friday. Happy Friday.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's definitely Happy Friday for sure. For sure.
Feels like it was 48 hours ago we were on this live, man.
24.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah. So any wins? Brad, are you able to hear us?
I can, yeah, it's choppy, but I can hear you. Can you hear me fine?
Yeah, we can hear you fine. No
Yeah.
doubt there. Why don't while you can hear us and we got a good connection with you, why don't you introduce yourself and tell everybody what you're doing?
Sure. Yeah, guys, it's Brad Bloom. Mainly focusing on flips and builds and potentially getting into some new construction here. Working out of the Grey Bruce County. I got some stuff going on, Kitchener, Waterloo, Cambridge as well. So if you're in any of those areas and want to hit me up and have a conversation or even just want to get started, give me a call. Numbers on the screen there, Instagram handle as well. Hope you guys are all doing well.
Awesome, man. I love it. Thanks again, everybody, for joining us this lovely Friday afternoon. I don't know how many more of these warmer days we have left in double digits, but I'm trying to soak it up. I'm Cali Braithwaite, and I'm out of the GTA. Yeah. I'm out of the GTA, and I'm actively focusing on more of an active role in real estate investing. So up until now, I've really been talking a lot about, assignments and flips, but I'm ready to take a pivot here, and I've decided that I want to focus more on long-term holds and take a more active approach in being the managing partner with other joint ventures. So that's something that I'd love to talk about today and talk to other people about. If you ever want to reach out to me and get to discuss some of the deals that I got going on and how you can get involved in this fun, my information's on the bottom, but just keep tuning in to this half hour live and get to hear all about what we got going on.
Awesome. Yeah, and I'm of course Shawn Gunther, and I'm out of the Moncton, New Brunswick area, and we're always looking for people to come join our team. So definitely, if you're looking to buy, sell, or invest here, reach out. And yeah, we are looking to expand and bring more people on. We've created some more partnerships here in the last little while that I think are going to be fruitful for the business. And yeah, we're just excited to kind of get moving and have things happen here soon. So that being said, it's another Friday. I think we're at between. Are we still between 35 and 40, Kelly?
You know what? I don't know, man. I was doing a good job, and then the week started going by so quickly.
Yeah,
it's I think we're between 40 or 45. We need to have like a wager. We need to have like a bet, some kind of friendly.
It'd be funny. It would be funny if we're at like 25.
Yeah. We should. If you guys know if Alex is gonna hop on, because if Alex hops on today, we need to have a bet so that nobody has time to like go back and do the math and look. We need to have a bet like right on the spot.
Yeah, right. And just see where we're at.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah, well, I mean, we've been doing this for a while, and I think that I think it's definitely serving us in a good way, because I mean, we've been able to reach out to a lot of people, and the growth that I think we're all seeing even from the beginning of this, whether it's directly tied to this or not, or just the the vibration of our words being out in the universe, things are happening for each of us. So I think it's great.
It's huge, man. I can definitely say that just by doing this, and I probably said it before, like in week 5 or 6, but it's helped me get more comfortable just going live. You know what I mean? Sharing what I'm up to, because I know that once it's here, it's kind of out there forever, right? So, someone can come and maybe they're not watching live now, but they might see this months, weeks, years from now, and it's there. So like whatever we say is genuine. Like you can question us on it. Like we're just speaking from what we know. We're not pretending to know more than what we do know. And if we learn something new, then we're more than happy to share it with whoever else is kind of tuning in, right?
100%. Well, and it's, I hope that this is able to reach the, some people and, be valuable to some people, and that we're, just having these conversations, I know are valuable to us sometimes. Cause like, I mean, I know myself, I've learned lots just from the conversations that we've had kind of going down. And Alex just messaged and said he's not going to be able to make it today. So,
Okay.
so but yeah, like, I mean, it's definitely been a trip, and I mean, I'm enjoying it, and I hope to kind of move forward, and hopefully we can continue to provide value for people.
I know based off Brad's little segment last week, I think I'm ready now to start my own concrete business, because he educated us about all the stuff I didn't know before. You know what I mean? So I mean, yeah, we're always learning from each other. It's really cool when you speak to somebody and they say, "Hey, I've checked out, I've watched your live, and I like your energy, or there's whatever, and this is why I'm reaching out to you, is because I feel more comfortable. I've seen you when you don't know that I'm watching, and I like who you are," right? So that's always nice to see too, right? And that's kind of why we do this. Is it also adds credibility to what we got going on.
100%. No, I agree with that totally.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I just I'm actually excited. I just before the show here, I went and met with the second person that's going to come join my team. So we're excited for things kind of moving forward, and I'm going to get the boys out doing some good old fashioned door knocking there next week, and we're gonna go from there and kind of take up that section. And yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting now. It's nice to see that things are moving forward, right?
If you need some training for them, just let me know.
100%. Hey, I was thinking that the whole 10x training that we got going on.
Oh yeah, that's great. Yeah. Okay, just do that.
I'll get them on the Grow with Collie training.
No. Yeah, the 10x training is yeah.
No, all good. But no, like, so how's everybody's week been? Like, any wins, any struggles? Like, what do you guys got going on?
Brad, man.
Yeah. On a win end of things, like properties are getting closer to being finished, so that's a bonus. There's projects that are coming together, and on a struggle end of things, it's very difficult to find contractors that can perform work to the caliber sometimes.
Yeah, no, so, I hear that.
But that seems to be reoccurring. But I guess that's the thing. I guess the reason for building that network of people when you're doing this stuff is that you'll have people who will, go out of their way to make stuff happen for you and can come and do work for you, instead of just basically literally trying to find that next person who's just available, right? Because I think that's where a lot of my struggle is coming in recently, is that some of the guys who I'd normally use aren't available because they're overstretched, not unlike myself. And then you start using some new people on things, and you realize that they don't quite have the same standards that you do.
Well, I've been having like those same conversations with people like Daniel, who all know as a contractor, and he's having the exact same problem, right? And it's like, we've all been kind of conditioned to, put the hammer down and kind of not really do the work. But it's at the end of the day, it's like, if like at what point do you just say, okay, well, holding this or the time frame is too long to find somebody to put in here, and do you just pick up the hammer and start going? Or like, I'm sure that's kind of part of the stuff that you do, Brad. A lot of times I talk to you, you're kind of at a job site or doing whatever, right? Just to make it happen.
I'm there too much.
Too much, yeah. Well, exactly. I mean, but as long as you're seeing success, and like another thing too that he kind of mentions is that everybody seems to talk the talk, but once they start getting into the actual project, you kind of start to see the glaring deficiencies in their work,
or the reasons why you were able to hire them.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Another thing, like Kirsten and I were talking today, and she said what we need to do is make more an effort when we're dealing with guys. Actually go, cool, where is the job site you're currently working on? I'm going to stop by and bring everybody coffees to actually see what's going on and what things actually look like and how things are progressing and what kind of product they're producing, right? Because, I guess in a sense that works for a little bit easier, because I can walk into situations and I can look at something and go, oh, hey, that's not quite how you should do that, or oh, wow, look at the imperfections or the inconsistencies with this end of things, and I'd be able to pick that out before a finished product. But I know on Kirsten's end, she was saying, like, I would think that would be difficult to do, because she would just look at it and go, oh, yeah, okay, good, stuff's happening. So, yeah, they know what they're doing, right? Yeah. Where I guess there is some benefit to that, having those abilities or skills, and if you don't, potentially finding somebody who does, you can work with or partner with.
That's what I was going to ask you, Brad. And I mean, it's for everybody here, but what strategies can we use to incentivize people to work with us, right? Like if they're just busy, is it, equity in a deal? Is it paying them more? What strategies have you tried or willing to try to get you out of being the guy doing the work?
Well, we've looked at like scenarios where you kind of maybe would pay somebody a bit more. I don't know about equity in a deal, because like, do you really just offer the random contractors of different trades equity in the deal, and then which contractors are you offering equity to? Because I'm sure it's not all of them. Like I don't find the issue is with finding certain trade. Like the only issue that I've noticed is finding certain trades, like carpenters seem to be like have disappeared off the face of the earth, or they're not working, or they're not qualified. The ones that are working, right? I don't know about you, Brad. What is your thoughts there?
Yeah, I don't know. It's tough, right? Like, because a lot of situations, depending on the project that you're doing, you don't necessarily know fully where your margins are, and you have a good idea. Like you always buy based on the ability to make money, right? But there's always variables, and there's always inconsistencies, and there's always stuff that's going to come up. So in a sense, partnering with some other contractors, that may be good in the sense of potentially if you find somebody who's of like mind and understands the aspect of quality and speed all at the same time, that maybe they would be good to partner with, in the sense of, hey, would you consider this price point, or a split on the deal, but they're going to come in and bring the expertise in the construction or the build end of things, but maybe it's not necessarily that there's a charge. It's whether if they accomplish it, then they're making more money at the end of the day. Maybe it's just not something I've ever contemplated or thought about. And I don't know. I don't know if I've had the right. If I've had the right contractors that I've worked with thus far that I want like that I instantly go to that at this point in time.
Yeah.
But
Well, and that's the thing. And like I've had, the conversations that I've had, I find it's like I want to see what kind of work you do before I start offering you the world, right? So, and a lot of times that's not really something that you can do. Do you ask for do you set up contracts with the guy, like the contractors that you're having to do work, Brad? Like actually have them actually fill out a contract?
I like not to an extent on my end. Like it's a lot of them guys coming in and they'll have like a small contract of a scope of work or something along those lines.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that, I would have to say that I kind of come to realize is that, my expectations are different for a result than other people's maybe are. So maybe it is time to create that paperwork where it's like, hey, here's the level of expectation for this job. Sign here that you're going to provide this level of expertise / product when you do this job. And if you don't, then what are the reprimands or the consequences going to be at that point in time, right? It's I've always just had good faith in people that they would work the same way that I do. But I guess until you find that core group of people that you're going to work with regularly, that might be something that's worthwhile.
Yeah. Interesting. So just to touch on the incentivizing, we talked about the example of where we give maybe equity in the deal or something like that. So that would be more or less for the general contractor, right? So it wouldn't be, and that would be up to the general contractor who's going to be there for majority of the job, right? Start to finish, they're going to see it through. So they're incentivized to get it done quickly. Maybe there's some kind of time, measurement or component that's attached to it as well. But they're also going to be incentivized to get it done in a affordable manner, in a timely manner. And then, or you could even look at the trades, let's say for a carpenter, and that you're going to need X amount of hours worth of carpentry. Well, you're not offering it to the floor installer. You're not offering it to the painter, but the guy that you need, or the girl, the tradesperson that you need, figure out a way to get them, right? Because you need some kind of bait, right? They're out there, they're swimming around. What bait can you use to get them on your rod? You know what I mean? Or on your line,
Yeah, 100%. Well, and
I guess that's the difference of. Sorry, go ahead, Sean.
No, you go ahead. You go ahead, Brad.
I was just gonna say on your end, Cali, when you're talking about it, you're looking at hiring the GC for the project. And I guess on my end, I've always just, because I've done my own work, I've always just GC'd the project myself, right? So I'm in a sense incentivizing myself / hey, get to work and fix the problem. Right.
100%.
So here's the thing: in a competitive market, let's say, for example, depending on the amount of the scope of work that you may have available, because Brad, what's interesting, you're more dialed in a specific area, right? So you have you can hire somebody and maybe have them work at a percentage of your jobs. Let's say 80% of your jobs are within an hour radius. Would that be accurate, or?
I guess at this point in time, other than the one project, the other remaining ones are probably within that range of an hour of each other.
Right. So 80%. So let's say, for example, you had a guy or a tradesperson or whatever. You're still the GC, but you had somebody who worked for you before. You love their work, but they're working for you somewhere else, and that maybe you're paying them $30 an hour, right? And maybe they're making $30 an hour, but them not being able to get the work done for you is cost. There's a dollar amount. There's an opportunity cost there as well, right? So if you were to say to them, okay, look, man, I'll give you, you do the work, whatever it is, and I'll pay you an extra $300 or $500 at the end or whatever, or I'll give you 50% more. I'll pay you more than what your guy's paying you because I need you right now. and it's costing me. So like, would it not be worth it to consider that as an option? And do you think somebody would say yes to that if you can keep them working? Because they may be worried of, if I leave this job and I come take your job, what kind of reputation am I going to have? So you have to make it worth their while, right? And
100%.
we see this with corporations, right? That's what, you got headhunters out there looking for people to leave companies and come work for other companies, but there's got to be something more that's on the table. Maybe it's the culture, maybe it's the pay. You got to find out what it is that these people want,
Yeah.
and provide them that opportunity, right?
I agree. Well, I mean, I thought of figuring out some kind of way to incentivize, and what I've kind of come up with, like just obviously thinking about it, was if you set up contracts potentially for the people that you're dealing with, say, because I mean, a lot of the things that we're fighting is time, right? Because the quicker somebody can get a job done and get a job done right, the better it is for us. And like offering them right up front, like $500 to $1,000 or whatever, more than what their job is, depending obviously on the scope of the job, and giving them the time frame and saying, if you can have this job done properly by this time, you'll get this much of a bonus, and each whatever day or whatever it ends up being will subtract this amount over and beyond that. And that was kind of one of the thoughts that I had about getting guys on there and incentivizing them to be quick and also work for me. Because if somebody's good at their job and is quick and can hit deadlines that are agreed upon, as long as you have a realistic deadline for them, right? Like obviously there's a potential that you can that you could get somebody and incentivize in that way. But I think it's just kind of getting the right person getting in front of the right person that doesn't see that as maybe too good to be true, or willing to risk their current situation in order to do that, right?
It's a signing bonus, right?
Yeah, something like that.
It happen all the time. You know what I mean? It's like, hey, need you to get this done. Here's a signing bonus for you to sign this contract. And you know what? I'll mention Daniel LeBlanc, because he said something to me the other day that made so much sense. He was saying that he was even having challenges with getting guys like contractors to do the work and to do the contracts. And he's like, the guys didn't want to, they didn't want to have a contract. They weren't able to prepare a contract. He's like, you understand, you are a contractor. Like, that's the name of your role, right? So that's because you're supposed to be able to put contracts together for what you're doing, right? So I kind of had a chuckle at that because it made so much sense when it's something that I even, failed to really absorb, right?
Well, and the title of it is maybe sometimes it's funny that it's a contractor. So your job is to contract all these other people and subcontract all these other people to get the work done, because most GCs are subcontracting, right? Like they don't necessarily have each trade on payroll.
Right.
So that's kind of that part of their deal, right? So it's funny because I actually had the same conversation with him, and he was mentioning to me that most guys have a hard time even giving a legible quote on paper. You know what I mean? Rather than just coming, it's going to be this amount, blah, 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 blah. Just kind of throwing numbers around without any real data.
Yeah. It is one of those things where, depending on what it is that you're doing, like there are certain aspects easier to quote than others. But I feel like right now in the trade industry, you have a lot more guys who are solopreneurs doing the job that they've only ever been employees, and they've just decided that, hey, now's the time for me to start my business because everything is booming, there's such demand out there that I can go make it on my own, and they're needing to get out of a job, so they get out of a job so they can be their own boss in a sense, basically entering another job. But that's the thing, is that it's like for a lot of those guys, it doesn't just come. They don't have the ability or the processes in place to quote things. I know even myself, like I've been doing this for years, and there's tons of stuff that I would look at and go, ugh, I'm not even sure how you would end up quoting that, because you look at things and you're just like, I just revert back to the jobs I've done where I'm like, easy, 2 weeks, this and this, no problem, and then all of a sudden 4 weeks later you're like, didn't expect that to happen, right? Like,
well, and that's the thing too. And I mean, I think a lot of times people are maybe even nervous to kind of come up with a quote, because it's similar, and I'm sure you fully understand this, but like when I used to do my handyman business, I would tell anybody, if I have to dig or I have to open anything up, I can't give you an exact quote. Like, because as soon as you never know what you're going to run into in the ground, you never know what you're going to run into when you start opening up walls, right? So it's like, and then once you do or start, you can't necessarily, like, I mean, in the ground, you can always cover it back up. But when you pull something apart in a house, you can run into a problem that no one was expecting, and that's the time you need to deal with, right? So it's, I could see that, but I think it's like you said too. There's a lot of solo guys that are going out, but I think everybody kind of does their thing at a different skill level, right? And like, if you're still asking your boss on how to do stuff, sometimes even if it's like weeks away, there's a good chance you probably are not ready to go out on your own. And there's definitely, maybe take a couple accounting courses quickly or something like that before you decide to go fully out on your own too. Just that way, but knowing things like that, where, you know what I mean, there are the opportunities where you're going to open up a wall, or you're going to do something like that, you make whoever you're doing the work for aware that, once I do this, there's the potential of this, and then we have to kind of revisit the quote in the scope of work at that point, right?
Yeah.
Transparency. And regarding the accounting, I would just hire a bookkeeper. I would tell them to hire a bookkeeper.
Well, I'm just saying for like quotes, right? There's some kind of a quoting system, that comes with experience too. A lot of times, like, I mean, this last over the summer and stuff like that has been a little bit more difficult. The cost of lumber is just going through the roof, right? So, that's a little bit different. It made it harder, but I mean, it's still possible, right?
Is there ever a question of, as time goes on, standards change? So it's like, if everybody doing the work isn't doing the work to our expectation, do our expectations need to change? Like the way that houses were built 60 years ago or 70 years ago is not the same that houses are built now. But they're not falling over. They're selling for way more than the ones that were built. So it's like, where do you know what I mean? It's
where do you draw the line? You draw the line at, if an inspector comes in and says it's wrong, then that person needs to have the accountability to come in and fix it.
Yeah. But how about the looks though? Inspectors aren't inspecting the aesthetics. They're inspecting the safety element of it, right?
Yeah, so, I mean, there's certain codes and stuff in place, right? So, if you have a permitted job, you're going to have an inspector there, or you're going to be required to have the inspector inspect, certain aspects of the job. And I mean, that's where things kind of come into play, or at least that's my perspective on this conversation. Like, dealing with framing and things like that, like framing and stuff. There's certain codes in place for all that. And if the person, like, if Kirsten was to go into a place and she just says, oh, okay, well, there's walls up and things are whatever, like, no big deal. Like, she's not going to be able to tell what the difference is right off the hop by looking at it, where Brad would walk in and be like, okay, well, this is wrong, that's wrong, blah, 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 blah. So then, the issue comes when you have the inspector there. If you are someone who doesn't or is not able to kind of find those issues or whatever, the inspector comes in and checks it out and tells you have to change anything, then my problem or the issues that I've noticed are good luck getting the person back to actually fix it, right? Like you're kind of on your own at that point.
Yeah, it's definitely like it just makes you question. Like, okay, so a lot of the stuff that we do may not require permits. So I think it's good to have like our own standard, which I think we need to have. But maybe there's a time where we have to say, well, like our standard, we learned this stuff 40 years or not 40. I mean, none of us, you know what I mean? But we've been doing this. Maybe some of us have been like Brad might have learned how to do his stuff 20, 30 years ago, where the guys that are learning now, well, no, but you might have learned in cadets, or not cadets, Boy Scouts or whatever, like, you know what I mean? Like I don't even know if they have Boy Scouts nowadays, right? So like a lot of people are learning these things as a second career, right? They're starting out as a second career, or they're coming from another country where the standards are totally different. The materials they're using are totally different. So like what we're doing here is just a different standard. But to them, it's like, hey, this is good. That like my last job, they accepted this, right? Because a lot of these new builds, you can pick apart a lot of stuff in these new builds, but they're passing inspections. You know what I mean? You watch Homes on Homes, right? Those houses, they pass inspections, but then they're falling apart. Like, I definitely don't think that that's a standard that we should be accepting, but I do consider the idea of adjusting our standards over time, right?
100%. And I kind of agree with you there to an extent, obviously, because like I think I guess it would be like high performing individuals would expect a lot, and I would consider us to be high performance individuals, so we can maybe expect too much from some people sometimes, but there is a very big difference between like just for an example, I had a tile guy come in to do a backsplash, and it was a difficult style backsplash. It was glass tile and herringbone pattern, right? So the guy came in and he didn't, things weren't done properly. I kind of gave him he said that he could do it. I asked him, and he's like, yeah, I know how to do it, blah blah blah. And I ended up coming down. I could tell it was crooked right off the hop. I was like, look, man, this isn't right. You're gonna have to fix it. He came back the next day and was cursing and swearing while I was working upstairs, and I come down and they're like, "Are you sure you got this, man? Like, are you sure you know what's going on?" Oh yeah, I got it. And like, then he comes down and then he comes up to see me after. He's like, I can't. I'm sorry, man. I'm not going to be able to complete this to the standard that you expect. And the standard I expected was in there and straight. Like, you know what I mean? It wasn't like I'm expecting you to move mountains here.
Right.
So, there's that the difference, right? Like, I mean, the differentiator of that, like what is good, what is done, like how low do you really put your expectations? Like, because with me personally, it's like, obviously that's a finished piece. Somebody's going to see it every single day. Oh, we lost Brad.
Right.
He's got to know. So obviously somebody's going to see that every single day, right? So I mean, that's something I don't think you can. And really, if you're trying to get top dollar on things, there's at the same time you can't necessarily cut corners or allow less than really good work, right? Yeah,
and I think some of these deficiencies are like, obviously, if it's something that's major, you got to intervene. Hey, this is not acceptable. But sometimes it's something that's minor that maybe only we see because we're looking for these things, where somebody who moves into the house or buys the property might be totally okay and not even notice these things. But we're like, I'm paying for this. I want it done a certain way. And if it's not done that way, you're going to fix it. And hey, we have every right to do that as the like the golden rule, right? He who has the gold rules. You know what I mean? So
I don't think that's what the golden rule is, Cali, but I like it.
Right? Yeah. But anyway, man, we went way over today. Let's wrap this up, and maybe I'll start with my outro since Brad isn't here. So thanks everybody for tuning in. It's somewhere between week 35 and 45. But hopefully we brought some value to you to give you some different perspective on, dealing with contractors and how to incentivize them and just kind of the challenges we've been going through. If you do want to reach out to me, my information's there. I'm actively looking for joint venture partners to come and have some fun with me and enjoy some of the wealth that's being created on some of these long-term holds. Yeah, reach me. I'm more than happy to talk to you about the deals I got going on and hear what you're up to.
100%. Yeah, and definitely enjoyed the conversation today. I think we could go for hours on this topic for sure. So anybody out there who's watching maybe after the fact, definitely we'd love to hear your comments or any suggestions that you guys have too, because I mean, this is obviously a common problem where there's three of us up here and all three of us have the same kind of issue. So definitely, I think that's something we'd love to get some feedback from, or get some ideas. And so we'd love to hear from you anyway. But yeah, I'm Shawn Gunther again out of the Moncton, New Brunswick area, and always looking to expand our business. So if you're looking to get involved in real estate investing here in the New Brunswick area, definitely get in touch with us. And if you're looking to buy, sell, or invest here, we would also love to talk to you as well. So you can reach us at 506-800-4289, on Instagram at the Moncton Home Buyer, or on Facebook and LinkedIn under Shawn Gunther. So yeah, thanks again for joining us. Hopefully we'll see you guys again here next week at the same time, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and take care.